Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Niagara Falls experience, our first episode of 2023.
Yay!
Woo! As always, I am Nico, the American. As you can tell by the A, that would be Peter, the Canadian.
That's me.
Oh man, we have such a great show. But first off, how was your New Year's, Peter?
It was wonderful. I actually, New Year's night, went over with a guest to the Festival of Lights on the Canadian side, saw the fireworks. And again, it was packed. It was wonderful, and I had a great time. What about you?
Oh, I spent my time talking with tour guides. I wish I was exaggerating. I spent New Year's Eve with my girlfriend, and yeah.
I'm one of them. So
yeah, no, they're fun. They're fun. No, so some of family friends of my girlfriend they're actually tour guides, so I get to spend time. Shout out to Rob, because he's awesome.
Yeah, I know Rob actually. Yeah, good guy.
He's really cool. He also runs Custom Bench over on Pine Avenue, and he was talking about it, and I saw it. If you drive up Pine Avenue in the old DeFranco Hardware, right next to his business, he actually put a full display in their windows right now because that building's currently unoccupied after DeFranco Hardware shut down about 2 years ago.
Make a good studio, wouldn't it? No. Sorry, eh?
Hey, they are renting.
Oh, that's good to hear.
But yes, there's a lot of nice things happening in Niagara Falls. Did you see, like, those apartments are finally done over on 3rd Street on the new development where they're putting...
Yes. Yes.
So there's a lot of nice stuff going into Niagara Falls for 2023. This is going to be a good year.
You know, it's funny. I was down there the other day and you were talking Niagara Falls, New York, and of course I'm the Canadian, but a lot of what I do, I originate here. You talked about the signage, and I've been watching as it's changing down there, and it's really good. I mean, the signage in Niagara Falls, New York is nothing like it was 10 years ago.
It's nothing like it was 2 years ago.
There you go.
I mean, yeah, it's doing very
super.
well.
Oh, no. So the first thing we were going to talk about tonight is how busy this winter is on both sides. A couple of things I want to say I'm surprised by. I didn't realize myself that that there was a display of lights at Veterans Park in the town of Niagara.
Yeah, so that's Noel at Niagara. I think in a couple episodes ago, I probably mentioned it right in between Fatima Shrine and Jingle Falls. I spent 40 minutes, and that's where I said, because actually what happened was we were talking about the lights used to be at Hyde Park.
Right.
Quite a few of the lights that were donated at Hyde Park, they were at Hyde Park, ended up getting donated to Noel at Niagara. So it's funny because I get to pick out. However, if anyone knows the whereabouts of it, there was a parrot with a giant 1990s brick cell phone that was saying hello. It was my favorite light, and somewhere between Hyde Park and going to Veterans Park in town of Niagara, it has disappeared. And no one has been able to tell me where it is. So if you know, call 716-957-5258. I have been trying to hunt down this parrot for years. That's it. We are offering a reward of I will thank you. We don't have money to give you. I have nothing to offer. I just really want to know what happened to the parrot.
It's a parrot. Hang on, I've got to turn on the Bluetooth here so I at least get the calls when they come in.
Oh, yes.
Eyeing about.
Would be. Well, no, we'll just hold it up to the mic like old.
What is Emomo Remo 4? I don't know what that is. Elk Bladum.
I don't think. See, Wi-Fi names are getting hip now. That's how you know that the cool people are. How you know a town is getting gentrified is by the Wi-Fi names.
You know, people do the fun one that they like to do is FBI surveillance van. You know.
Yes.
That's great. Julian, could you on the Roadcaster where the Bluetooth button is? It's a little round button at the top of the fader. It's got a Bluetooth symbol on it. Can you turn that on and off? And it'll say that the phone is now discoverable. I discovered my phone.
It's funny you just said fader. Shout out to Sherry and John who are watching our show. Sherry actually works down in the park. She was working over the summer. I think you've met Sherry before.
Yes.
She worked over at the boat. And she's watching our show. John is as well. Hello, John. I had the pleasure of meeting John when he came down to the park one day. And they're wonderful people, and we're so happy that you're watching our show. It's always fun when we get to see people that, we've seen, weeks back in this. And I never told them about the show. None of us tell. It's just word of mouth, and everyone's kind of talking to each other, and we're getting
welcome.
We're getting the fun people. We're getting the tour people. And it's fun to get the tour people because they know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
You know,
this part of the show is called The Lead. So we just kind of start off with something that, and you're welcome to pipe in on Facebook. You can make comments. Julian will read them out to us so we don't have to have one of our phones on and have the phone accidentally playing an echo of the sound. That happened 2 weeks ago, didn't it?
It did.
And whose fault was that? Mine. Okay, so there you go. But yeah, welcome, Sharon and John.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, busy winter. So like I said, I hadn't thought of it or connected in my brain that it would be worth really pushing. But I was driving up Porter Road or Packard, right where you turn on Military, and I saw the Bench, and I think that's your good friend Rob, isn't it? Who runs that, the Bench Advertising?
Yes.
And it said about the holiday light show, and there's a lot of stuff, you know, like does Fatima Shrine still do theirs?
So I believe Fatima Shrines should be ending. I think it ends tomorrow's the Epiphany, so
Yeah.
I think it probably will end tomorrow. I know the ones that go into February mainly are the Canadian Festival of Lights.
That's us. Yes, February 20th. That's Family Day in Canada, it's called. It's the equivalent of our Martin Luther King Day. And we have President's Day in January, right? Or am I reversing it?
President's Day is in February.
Ah, okay. Then Martin Luther King Day is in
January.
January, correct. So that's the Canadian thing. But it's busy. Today, I went down there to do some video, and there were a lot of people on our side as well. Bus tours are showing up, so good stuff. When I say our side, I mean on the American side. I visit the Canadian side. I am Canadian, and I'll be doing a lot more over there in the future. So. Rock, but we really do need to see some of our other restaurants meeting the need or creating an opportunity for people to explore them.
And that's it. And, you know, especially because downtown they tend to close a little bit earlier during this time of year. Some of the restaurants, you know, I always say it's sort of, are you within walking distance or within driving distance? Because if you have that ability to drive or Uber, you know, any of that, there are restaurants that do stay open a little bit later around town. But there's sort of like two times. They're either closing at 8 o'clock or they're closing at midnight because they're a bar. And a lot of the bars serve food around here. We don't have a lot of just straightforward bars. Most of our bars also have pizza and wings and a lot of other things. In fact, we'll be talking about wings shortly later on in the program.
Yes. Yes. So, by the way, thank you, Julian. We're all hooked up. Julian, we just switched around our computer system here. We've got a brand new set across from us. We can't show it to you now, but I guess we could, eh? But maybe I'll lift the camera up later and show you what the other side of the room looks like. You know, it's like showing Canada over there, you know?
No, we're just going to tell them how great it is. Like, they don't get to see it. It's the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. They don't get to see it.
I love that scene. You always wonder, you know? Hang on a second here. This thing's scratching for everyone. So I'll just kind of keep it down here, and that's good. So, yeah, we've got some new projects on the go. We wanted a new area. Next week, we've got a special guest, Nick Hurd from, we're hoping. Yeah, we'll confirm it on the Facebook page and on the social media. Nick is the owner or operator of a fairly successful, a successful tour company called Niagara Adventure Tours. He's going to come in and talk about that company and what they've done differently. And they really have done things a lot differently than other companies. So Good for them. I mean, that's, we want a rising ocean floats all boats.
And that's just it. In fact, Nick, I've interacted with Nick for 2 years now. Nick's first, if you ever meet him, and hopefully we can have him on the show, he's just trying to arrange his busy schedule. He was just on a national podcast last week, so he's a very busy person. So we're working behind the scenes, hoping to work with his schedule. But in addition to Niagara Falls Adventures, his tour company, he's actually started something called Explore Niagara, which is something that this region's been trying to work towards, which is basically I kind of want to refer to it as an online travel agency, like an OTA, but it's not. It's like a one-stop shop for all attractions in Niagara Falls. Oh, so he's actually been trying to work with all of the different businesses to put them all in on this, basically, from the ground up, trying to build it so there is a one-stop shop. And, he's, hopefully when we have him on, he'll be able to speak a little bit more about that. But that is something that a lot of both tourists and businesses around here have been looking for, that, one place to list. That isn't necessarily, because, people do list, they list on other big ones, their Viators, their Expedia,
right.
But to have one that's locally operated is fascinating. It's kind of cool, because that what's being presented is being presented by locals. It's
right.
When you're talking to someone, it's someone here. And that's, like he said, it's good for all the businesses around here.
Hey, we got a
call.
Hey, hang on there. 1 second. Hey, who's on the line here with your Niagara Falls experience?
Johnny Sports.
Johnny Sports!
Hey!
Hey, Canadian football or American football? What do you call?
It's both. I love them both. So.
That's great. Yeah, those of you who don't know Johnny Sports, he's a regular on Your Community Accountability and is part of the Vox Sports team here at the studio. So, John, what's your take tonight? What's up?
Oh, I just want to welcome Nico. I love your show, and we'd love to have him on our show on a Tuesday night as a guest.
I think he'd enjoy that.
I would. That's
yeah.
Oh, I get to produce that.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, this is
and
great.
I love the program, and I hope it keeps going for a long time. I just love watching you guys. It's great.
Same with yours, John. Your Community Accountability, I've watched your shows that you're on, and they're wonderful. And they have that, the cutting edge of like news and events in Niagara Falls. So where our show,
yeah.
For those of you that are watching right now, if you head over to Niagara's Vox, our parent company, you can see Your Community Accountability. And while we kind of focus just straight up on tourism and fun things to do in Niagara, their show is a lot more what it's named, Your Community Accountability. So they talk about exactly. And John, we love having you at Niagara's Vox, and we love watching your show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I kind of been there before you, so I'll just use it.
Well, yeah. I have to speak for Peter here.
Yep. I'll take it.
But good luck, Nico.
Thank you so much. I'm
Peter
happy to be here.
No problem.
Yeah, anybody who works with me gets a good luck, Nico. Even if their name's not Nico. There you go.
I know. Nico, Rico, Tico. Something like that.
You know what's going to happen now? Julian's going to cut in and make some comment about my age. I know it.
Yeah, I can hear it coming too. And my age.
Oh, John, no. I think I got you beat, though, don't I?
Yeah, you got me beat by a little bit, I think.
Good.
Just
I'm still the old man. All right, John. Thanks for calling in, buddy.
No problem. You have a good night, guys.
You
Bye.
too. Bye now.
Bye.
That's really cool. Johnny Sports was a DPW worker here in Niagara Falls, and he's very passionate about sports. And he's been with this Vox Sports team. He was calling play-by-play at the Niagara Power. They're back this year. I don't know if you know this, with all the all the concern about the Bills and I'm drawing a blank. Number 3, and forgive me, it's been a long day. For all the concern about the Bills, John DiCarlo, who now owns the Niagara Power, his son Nick DiCarlo, who played for the Power last year, suffered the exact same thing. Back in the fall, he was hit in the chest. He plays for Iona College on their baseball team, and he was hit in the chest with a ball, and his heart stopped. and he was in intensive care. And I listened to a cardiac director at Tufts University on NPR the other day. Yeah, I'm old. I listen to NPR, okay? But it's good, and it was some good information. And this guy was saying that it's only a 20 millisecond window that can happen with an impact to the chest, where if it's within that 20 milliseconds, it can have that effect. So God bless that they were saying that that the player is Damar. I knew it was Damar, but Damar is responsive and awake now, and things are great. And maybe at some point in our sports, they'll have Nick DiCarlo on to talk about the experience. But that's the beauty of this place. I don't know if you've ever come to our studios. Maybe we should have an open house.
We should. We
should have an open house. What do you think, folks? Would you come to an open house if we had wine, because we've got wineries, and if we had cheese, because we've got my jokes? Oh, you got something?
Just making sure. We had a notification that we didn't have sound. Our sound is back up.
Oh, good. So where'd we leave off? Oh, yes, we had just given out the winning lottery numbers for tonight's lottery in advance, you could qualify. So there you go. Well, what do you say there, Julian, that we run our first commercial? And I know we're going to catch them a little bit by surprise because we changed the computers in this studio. So we're going to be right back after this message. On the shoreline of Lake Ontario, just east of Wilson, New York, you'll find a sweet spot that combines old world charm with new world vintages. From the rustic elegance of their grounds to the warmth and enchantment of their tasting room, you'll feel a special welcome to Victorianburg Wine Estate, owned and operated by Victoria and Dan Hogue. Award-winning wine is available for tasting, or for a true adventure of pairing, you can savor the wide variety of award-winning chocolate truffles and their suggested wine partners. From the superb traditional wines to specialty vintages infused with chocolate or other delights, there's something for every palate. No setting on the wine trail can match this marriage of vintage and delicacy. Our tasting room is open daily, Sunday through Friday from noon until 5, and Saturday from 11 to 6. Acres of vineyards, patios, rhythmic fountains, and our rose garden entice you to stroll the grounds after tasting our award-winning wines. Find us at 4402 East Lake Road in Wilson, New York, or online at www.victorianburg.com.
And we're back. Hello. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you to Victorianburg Wine Estate.
Yeah, our good friends there. They've got a lovely meeting room, wedding room. It's gorgeous. It's called the Rose Petal Room. So we'll be doing more there. In fact, I'd like to do a live broadcast from there. We're working on a live broadcast now in 2 weeks. I think we should announce that we're changing our night.
Oh, are we going to announce that? Are we going to do that?
I think so.
No, we probably should. Yes, we have to get the word out early and often. You're going to see it plastered all over our Facebook page if it's up to me. Yeah, probably just, you're going to see this face slowly zooming in. We are moving our show to Wednesday. Why Wednesday? Because why not?
The Canadian exchange, okay? The week's shorter in Canada.
The real reason is, we decided we want to do this. We want you, we realize this is the highlight of your week, and you have to wait for, all Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and then your Thursday night, and you're waiting for us, and it's painful. It's painful. It's so sad.
It's a whole new meaning to hump day.
It's like you're so sad because you have to wait so long to watch us. So we decided we're gonna move it to Wednesday so you get it earlier in the week.
I had a really good sad violin sound I could have used under that to make it work. One day we'll have to do a public service announcement of trying to end the people's need for us. That we're gonna try and reach out more.
Yes, one of these days we're gonna have a PSA and say, please, we are no longer needed. Everyone knows everything there is in Niagara Falls. The falls have run dry.
I don't know if you remember, you won't remember this. It was before you were born, I know. And there was a televangelist, I'll leave his name out, but he had this thing where he told his followers, his audience, that unless he raised $1 million, God was going to take him. And so some DJ in Toronto, Steve Anthony, kept repeating that, saying, if I can't raise $1 million, Steve Anthony will live. So there... I love that. So we'll have to come up with ways to guilt the audience.
Yeah, clearly this is we're
Look at this. I'm almost dead center here.
you are.
You need to come over.
No, you're centered. This is great.
Oh no! Like sometimes Sam is on Sam's show is right up against
See,
it.
my goal is just to slowly lean out of frame.
Oh, then nobody sees you.
Yeah, there you go. I slowly
Mysterious
disappear.
Nico.
I disappear into the green screen. Let's go.
Oh, that's kind of cool. With one other show I saw, there was just a little home podcast, and one of the hosts, you only see half of the host. Like they just don't. What is it about looking at a screen and saying, I need to be in frame? But people don't think of that. That it's very distracting to watch. I can't watch it because it's only a half an individual. So there you go. But the number 9. The number 9 means something here at your Niagara Falls experience. Why don't you describe what does it mean to you, Nico?
The number 9 is the numbers between 8 and 10.
Oh, this is Grover on Sesame Street. The number 9 is brought to you today by Nico. There you go. Oh my Lord.
We're gonna get sued for
Wasn't
copyright infringement.
Nah, I've done commercials with that voice. And John Lennon had a song on the Beatles called Revolution Number 9, where he just absolutely repeats number 9, number 9, number 9. So, but for you, what does it mean here in Niagara?
Well, what it really means is the Niagara 9. And what is the Niagara 9? It's the Niagara 9.
Is it a court appearance? Like the Chicago 7, or I don't know. No, it's actually we got to start drawing attention to things in Niagara Falls, and we just rolled a die, and
2 technically, because
no, we only rolled 1, and we said we didn't like what we got, so let's pick another number. But number 9 is that we're going to be picking the 9 best of everything in Niagara, both sides. Now, sometimes it'll be on a particular side, and right now, because we're in winter, Canada, there's not, beyond the Festival of Lights, there's not a lot more to do. By the way, we got invited to go up on the Sky Wheel.
woohoo!
Yeah. And
Perfect.
so
I'm
we're gonna bring a
terrified of
camera.
heights. That'll be perfect.
Well, you'll be down below, and now I don't know how you'll know which capsule I'm in, gondola, whatever they call it. But anyways, 9 best of everything. What are the 9 best attractions? Where are the 9 best cups of coffee? What is the best poutine in Canada? If you're familiar with poutine, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, can you take
the
down the
poutine.
phone number for a second?
We need
there,
to see the
Julian?
poutine.
Gotta see the belly. Oh,
There's the poutine.
Yay! And people say, what's poutine made with? Poo. Anyway, no, it's if you really want to know, it's cheese curds on gravy on French fries. And it is a food group in Canada.
Is it true that it is a Canadian federal crime if the gravy is not hot enough to melt the cheese curds?
It depends on the province you're in. Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. Some places make it. The cheese curds are cold. So that doesn't work. They gotta melt in. They gotta give you that flavor.
That's the issue. I run into that issue a lot with American poutine. Like they never get it hot enough to melt the cheese curd.
So we're gonna go looking for that. You realize that?
Yeah.
And best maple syrup in Canada. Where do you get that? Best beer. We compare both sides.
That is going to be the most hotly debated one, whatever we do. And here's the best part about this is we're asking for your input.
Right.
This isn't just the two of us saying this is the 9 best things in Niagara Falls. This is all of you telling us what the 9 best things in Niagara Falls are, and we're going to verify it. And
Yeah.
most of these are food because we like eating.
We want to hear from you as to who you like, etc. And pardon me, I just had a moment where I was realizing I put my mic on my sleeve. You can see it there, but it looks like an IV. So let's just pretend that's beer. Okay.
It's beer.
My brother once, actually back in 1980, I was having one of my first knee surgeries. I've had 33. But he boiled the label off a glass bottle of vodka, put it in hot water, and carefully lifted off the label, put it between wet paper towels, put it in a file folder, took it to the hospital when I was sleeping, and applied it to my IV bottle. So for a full day, my saline solution was Smirnoff. So there you go. Anyway, so beer. How can that be hotly contested? Because around here, what are the top beers? Labatt Blue, Molson Canadian, right? I mean, Canada's going to win hands down.
Okay, but no, that's the best top. Like if now you're going into craft beers, and then there's an
Let's
opinion.
talk a little bit about that. What craft breweries do you know around here?
Oh, there's Woodcock.
Yep,
There's
that's what my call is. Their Niagara Lager is delicious.
oh, I know there's
Beer Authority?
Beer Authority, Fatty Beer. I don't. Is Flat Tire local? Everyone orders Flat Tire, but I don't know if it. Flat Tire was one of those craft beers that has been around for like the last forever, and it's like everyone always like every time. Basically, my entire existence, I don't drink that much beer. I just read the menu over at Griffin Gastropub because they have every beer known to man.
I know, and there are a lot of men in Canada. There you go. The beer issue is kind of cool because I for a number of years played in a cover band and did a lot of places like Riverworks, and they had the Big Ditch Brewing Company down there, as well as others. And yeah, there's a lot of great craft beers. So we're gonna have to go. Sorry, this is a very Canadian thing. Someone might call it a large binge of drinking multiple beers. And for a Canadian, that's Thursday. Okay.
But our show's going to be on Wednesday now, Peter.
Right. The hangover lasts when you get older.
One whole week.
So I think we made our point that the Niagara 9 is going to be 9 of the best of whatever it is. If you want to suggest something, we're going to do that. And we're going to start with, what do we say? Wings.
You got to go with wings. And that is very aggressively Western New York. Like, Canada could try.
Canada's not going to come close. Not for that. I mean, pass me a pen over there so I can start jotting these down. Now, Julian, let us know if anybody pipes in with any suggestions. But what's your first?
My first.
Yeah. Ooh, not first ranked. It's the first one comes to mind.
No, I know, but I say this is the first one comes to mind. I'm a weirdo. I go with Goodfellas. I'm a Pine Avenue Italian. It's Goodfellas.
All right. Now, are we including Buffalo in this? Because that could get, maybe that needs to be a whole different
I think,
program.
listen, Buffalo has its own specific 9 wings within Buffalo that are.
I know. You know what I found out? Gabriel's Gate, which is down in Allentown. It's a great restaurant, but apparently their wings are to die for. And what's the company? 5 Star Tours is doing a wing tour. I know that Nick's company's been doing one, but 5 Star Tours is meeting with the family that actually created the wings before the Anchor Bar. They were called Mambo Wings.
Yep.
So they wrote back to us, and they want to be part of it. So that'll be a Buffalo thing. We may have to do that and separate Western New York, but for Niagara Falls...
And then we could really cause a fight by comparing them. Like the best wing in Niagara to the best wing in Buffalo.
Ooh,
Panel test, pull a bunch of people in here into the studio during the open house and just make them test
let's do that for the open house, the first Niagara 9, and we'll have wings from everyone.
Listen, the Festival of Slice was canceled this year. I am heartbroken right now, so...
My cardiac, whatever they are, told me don't eat pizza, which really upset me. But no, I'm only kidding. So we got Goodfellas. I'm going to say Sammy's because I've really enjoyed their wings over the years. Now, pick one.
Brickyard, Lewiston, the Dry Rub.
Ah. And what we'll do is we will finalize this with the input from anyone who watches the show. You got a favorite wing. Then we're going to approach these places and get an order, like a large order for takeout from them, at least 30, 40 wings. And then we're going to have them here for the open house. This is growing. Like, we're creating this.
Right. On the fly, you could see how the gears start turning. And then
so you said the Brickyard. I just tried wings that my friend David Florio from Niagara Regional Tours took me to Gotta Habit, G-H-A-D-A, Habit. They do Mediterranean food, but their pizza is phenomenal. And their wings, they're huge, they're delicious, and very well done. Not well done in the sense of overcooked. So I'm going to say Gotta Have It because we really like them, and I really like them. Sorry, you need to come up there, and then you'll eat, and you'll say, I really like them.
Obviously, this needs to... And this is the real goal. We're going to pick 9, and then we're going to keep sampling back and forth. And another one?
Unless you want to quickly throw in Duff's and Anchor Bar.
Oh, no. Those are Buffalo. They exist here. The Anchor Bar does exist here, and there's a Duff's that exists here, but those are very specifically Buffalo.
Done. What about our neighbor?
That's what I was pointing to.
You
rewind the tape. I was doing the hand motion.
We are right next door. This wall. Well, behind the waterfall.
Yes.
Is where Joey's Pizza.
Yes. And Joey's Pizza has very good wings.
They won't have to come far to deliver, will
No.
they? Who else can we think up here has wings?
Well, the funny thing is everyone has wings. It's just, where do you want to go to get wings? Jocko's. Jocko's up on the
Yes.
other end of Buffalo Avenue here.
Yep. I know people talk about these places. Who else has wings? Come on, folks. You can pipe in.
Hey, we got a recommendation, and it is the Craft on 3rd.
Oh,
And
no.
it's a specific order of wings.
Yeah.
They're salt and pepper wings.
Ooh.
And thank you to Becca.
Ah, yes. Becca, you've got family company tonight from Canada. What are you doing watching this? Or maybe they left. I don't know. But I like that. Craft on 3rd. I live like 2 blocks from the Craft on 3rd.
I just
All
thought
right.
you were about to say you live in the Craft on 3rd.
No, I would have. Actually, Bill, who owns it, and he's a good guy, and I met him a few years ago, and we talked initially about turning that into a kind of a museum of prohibition. You know, the prohibition era here was huge because this was an area they could get liquor and alcohol across the border by moving it across the river. It was funny, I don't know if you know this, but up near Chippewa, which is just south of the Horseshoe Falls, there's a marina there, and boats would leave at night with bills of lading. Were filled with alcohol, and they would say they were going to Cuba, and then 2 hours later they'd be back. So the customs agents who were kind of winking at it all said it was the fastest boat service on the planet. So now we're kind of looking. I'm kind of thinking down Niagara Falls. Who else? Ventries.
Ventries.
All right.
Gotta go. Ventries is always a solid pick. Okay, that's 8. That's 8.
We need one more.
We need one
Anybody?
more.
Anybody?
Someone, come on. Someone on Facebook.
We can reach
Anyone.
this goal. We can help these children eat wings. I'll tell you now, we will reach this goal. Just one more donor. I know you can do it. Look down in your heart and say, do I want to get that cholesterol-laden, deep-fried loveliness to someone, a child who is needy? And we'll invite them in after we're all finished with wings. But whatever's left, they can have them. There you go. That's my really bad impression. The Lord needs a new swimming pool.
Okay, wait. Buzzies. We got it. Buzzies.
Who gave us that one?
My mother.
That was Mom. Way to go, Mom. Love you, Mom.
Mom in with the closer. Goal!
All right. So tonight's lineup is Goodfellas, Sammy's, Brickyard, Dry Rub, Gotta Have It, Joey's Pizza, Jocko's, Craft on 3rd with the salt and pepper, Ventries, and Buzzies. Anything we're missing? It's Mr. B's.
Oh, well, now there's more than 9. How many are we going to have?
That's okay. We're going to narrow it down to 9.
Okay, we got to add Mr. B's now.
All right. You know, one pizza, one restaurant might get injured. The Niagara 9, but we'll narrow it down. You and I may have to go eat a lot of wings to figure out which one to get rid of.
Oh, no, that's dangerous. Dangerous, my friend.
All right, so that's the Niagara 9. It's going to become a feature maybe once, twice a month, and we're going to try and get you involved. And if you've been to Niagara Falls, share your experiences with us. We'd love to have you on air. We'd love to get your comments. You can do that on Facebook. Send us an email, niagarasvox@gmail.com. Whatever way, but share your opinion, because we're in an area, Western New York, that for a long time, this place has had kind of a defeated attitude. And then a lot of things have changed. We have a football team that shows they can win. We've got a hockey team that's doing the same thing. We've got people who've just dug out from the worst ice storm. This is Western New York. Okay, so when it comes to tourism and Niagara Falls, we're starting to show Niagara Falls, USA has a lot of winning qualities as well. So get involved. Tell us what you experienced. If it's bad, share it with us, and we'll try and address it so that not only do we talk about it, but maybe the whatever the experience was, who it was with, that they have a chance to kind of respond to us about it. We don't know. A lot of companies. I'm sorry I'm going on about this, but the other day I had a couple who had just been to Washington, and this is last week, but then they were with me on a tour, and they were comparing me or telling me about this tour guide they had in Washington, and this woman who muttered and talked to herself on the mic and didn't know the names of buildings and just was terrible. And then they said, yeah, we're not going to do a review for her, but we will for you. And I said, you got to do a review for her. Because companies don't always know. You know, the nicest person smiles and leaves your office, and they go do a tour, and that's not the product you want people to have out there, the experience. So, yeah, it's really important to voice genuine concerns, and then be open to the fact that maybe they can fix it, or at least an apology. That's all.
I mean, it is true. Constructive criticism is, and Western New York has, you know, like we said, that, you know, very... And we were losing for a very long time.
And I think it honestly has turned a corner.
It has. There's so many good things happening. And it's important that we highlight those good things that are happening while also taking, you know, holding accountable the less than stellar.
Right.
We'll put it like that. And that's always been, because the only way things, you know, progress is if we point out, hey, we can do better than this. We can be better. And that's what I think what's happening a lot in Western New York is us realizing we can absolutely be better than the punch. Growing up, I mean, every movie, the punchline was, oh, we're going to Buffalo. We have to do Buffalo. You know, Buffalo is this horrible, you know. And it was like, now it's like Buffalo's cool. So people love it. Like, Buffalo really is really cool. And Niagara Falls on the New York side has always been Niagara Falls, Canada. Niagara Falls, Canada is, you know, go to Canada. People in Niagara Falls, New York, at a concierge desk telling people, go to Canada. And I'm just like, hey, where's a good place to eat in Niagara Falls? Oh, go to Canada. Like, what? I mean, it took us, we sat here, we just named 9 places just to get wings. Yeah. Just wings.
And I don't think...
And we just, with 10 on there, actually. And that's just what we decided, because we're being a little bit picky, because they're supposed to be the, you know, what we're looking at for the top. Not, those are the only 10 in the city. Not by a long shot.
We skipped the Anchor Bar and Duff's.
Yes, we skipped the obvious.
And we apologize to any restaurant that we might have missed in this. If you feel your wings will compete, tell us.
Yes, and we will try them. We will come to your restaurant. We will try them. And I've been surprised by places where I'm like, oh no, they can't be. And you try, and you're like, oh.
You have found heaven.
You know, it's like, my favorite thing is breakfast. Like, I've found breakfast places where I'm like, this is not going to work. And I go there, I'm like, very pleasantly surprised. You know, and then I've had some that people swear by, and I'm like, this is the big hubbub. You know, this is it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's to each their own, but that's upcoming. That's the one I will be most excited for when we're,
breakfast?
You know,
Yes.
Breakfast. I would do pancakes, but we're not going to do that. We already know who has the best pancakes.
Do we? Well, I'll leave that for you to tell.
We'll save that. Another episode, another time.
Yeah. I know where the best maple syrup comes from. That's Vermont. No, I'm a sinner in Canada if I say that. Yeah, everybody thinks Canada is totally maple syrup. I don't know. They sell a lot of it because it has that Canadian connotation to it. It comes from Canadian maple, or from maple trees, Canadian maples as we call them. And I mean, when I was a kid, I remember in kindergarten, we went to a maple tree in front of the school and drew sap and boiled it and then ate pancakes with it on there. Canadians grow up with this whole tradition of maple syrup. So pancakes are great. Waffles are good.
Yes.
Yeah. So we call this an open forum now. We've got about 10 minutes left. And we kind of wrote down here we'd have comments, odds and ends. And then I started wondering, what's an odd? And does it end? You know, is that an odds and end? And why do we group them together?
Well, I'll have you know, Odds and Ends was a discount store that was located on Portage Road in the city of Niagara Falls in the 1990s. I remember shopping there.
Well, I just learned something. Odds and Ends has, like, places named after it.
Yeah, Odds and Ends. There was a store. It was a discount store called Odds and Ends, and it was a chain. In fact, I still somewhere have one of their weekly ads from like the 90s.
Is the Book Nook still open on Main?
It is. I don't know what their hours are.
Right.
They're very weird. And, I mean, he's been there for 10 trillion years, and he'll be there for 10 trillion
It's
more.
a fun place, and all of a sudden you're looking in one room, and there's a cat on top of your books.
Yes, it's very important.
Oh, I know. It's great.
So when you go upstairs, and there's, like, musical instruments and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of... You see, that place has character. And I drove by Main Street today, and I saw the murals that Dante Miles, who is a very fine musician, and he's a member of our council.
Yes.
And here in Niagara Falls, but he and some some community members started taking the fronts of buildings that need to either be demolished or refurbished and put some murals reminding them this is where our community lives. So that looks really good.
It does. And Main Street is a weird litmus test for Niagara Falls, New York. Main Street is like most Main Street, I call it the Rust Belt Main Street. There's a lot of closed buildings on our Main Street, and yet there are things like the book corner, and there's things like Good Omen Records and the Y Coffee Shop and DiCamillo, who sunk an obscene amount of money into that's their main location.
The one on Linwood?
On Linwood, on Main and Linwood. And I love that DiCamillo. Like, you go in there and it's just a slice of heaven. And it's funny because they could have chose one of their other locations. They have, 2 in the Falls. They had 3 in the Falls. They have 2 in the Falls now, 1 in Lewiston, 1 in Williamsville. They have quite a few. But their main location has been, for almost their entire existence. They started off, I think, 22nd and Pine, somewhere. They started tucked away in this little tiny, little nothing, and then grew. And they ship their bread all over the country.
You buy it at Wegmans?
Their bread's amazing, but their donuts are amazing, and their pizza is amazing, and they're the only place. And it's funny because this is the first time, and I feel like this is the cardinal sin of DiCamillo, where they ask, because they're like, I'll have a slice of pizza, which is square. That's a very specific thing to Western. We have square tray pizza. It's not triangular. And I realized I only learned that that's kind of specific to our region when I started going out of the region and realized that they're
in Toronto.
Like, that's it, but it's like...
But only at the bakeries, not the pizzerias.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, you go to a pizzeria here and it's kind of odd to order a pie, unless you're ordering a New York style pie. Like, you go to Buzzy's, they're New York style, so it's always a pie. But a lot of places, you get the tray. You get a half tray, 20, 25, 30 wings, and call it a day. But they asked at DiCamillo, because they have that huge now open hearth right in the front there, they're like, do you want your pizza warmed up? And I'm like, warmed up? No. Pizza from DiCamillo is supposed to be served at room temperature in a piece of wax paper. It's been that way forever. It's the hangover cure. The fact, want it warmed up. I'm like, that being said, it's amazing warmed up as well, but if you want to eat it the way the locals eat it, you just get it a piece of wax paper.
Little Bakery is like that too.
Yeah, the Little Bakery.
DiCamillo is such a long-standing name here. Little Bakery is an incredible community-oriented
business. The Little Bakery is because the Little Bakery comes out of their location on Elmwood, is the original Trusello's. And Trusello's has been here as long as DiCamillo has, then Trusello's ended up shutting down. But that's the thing, you could go into a Trusello, and the funny thing, the one on Elmwood, the Trusello's is like the size of a box. It's tiny. It always has been. You walk in and you're in the oven. It's right there. But Little Bakery took it over because they saw a need. Trusello's had shut down. It had changed hands a few times, and then it shut down, and they saw a need. And one of the cool things about Little Bakery, they have a few different locations. They actually have one right up the street from us, just right up there on Buffalo Avenue. But the amount that they donate is amazing.
Yes.
So I follow them on Facebook, and they'll just put out, they'll be like, okay, all of our bread is $1 today. We have, 30 pies. Pay what you can. We're going to leave them out, off, they have an area out in Saunders Settlement, and they'll just leave 30 pies out with little box and say, pay what you can. And they'll come. They were donating during the snowstorm. They were just giving away pizzas left and right to, the police, the fire departments, Memorial Medical. They just donated a bunch of pizzas to one of the members of Memorial Medical that was retiring this week. They just donated. This is what they do. They are ridiculously generous people, which goes very in tune with what that Western New York mentality is. Western New York is exceptionally generous.
Yeah.
And I think people outside of Western New York, like kind of looking at Bill's Mafia with, what happened with DeMar, they donated over $5 million to his charity, and now everyone started following suit. And it's funny because this happened during the Bengals game. We donated to when Andy Dalton was the quarterback because he got us out of the losing streak, 17-year drought. We backed into the playoffs just because the Bengals had won, And we just started donating money to his charity. And it's funny because I remember when the Bills Mafia was known for their antics, you know, so jumping through tables. They still are, but they're also known as one of the most generous fan bases in sports because they're just, and that's not specific to the Bills. That's just Western New York. It's an incredibly generous place. Very kind people, just wonderful.
Julian, yes.
Wonderful people. And that's why I love being in Western New York and why I love highlighting things here.
You're actually right. And it's something that I've always admired from, I know that Toronto is known as Toronto the Good, and you have large areas of Canada that have, you know, good hearts, but nothing like I've seen down here. I really commend this area, Western New York, and I'm not trying to be maudlin or patronizing. Just the outpouring here. I mean, people can't do enough. People want to do more. They want to help. I mean, the amount of money that went into Damar's funding project, his charity, was phenomenal. That's, you know, I heard someone talking about that where was I today? In a restaurant or something? Or yesterday. I was in a restaurant. Someone behind me was saying, I was at Gotta Have It. And one of the other patrons was saying, yeah, he's getting that money. No, he's not. It's gone into his charity. But the point is, the people here have, honestly, hearts of gold. And there's a kind of an example of what that is. And it's that Western New Yorkers give of their need. They may not have enough for themselves, but they'll share what they have.
And that's really it. And that's, I think, why a lot of people love calling Western New York home. And that's why I like being in this community. Peter, I know that's why you like being in this community.
That's why I stayed.
That's it. You know, I was born here. He came here. Why did he do that?
Well, I'm married an American, and now I'm not married to an American. And yeah, I live in Niagara Falls, New York, and it makes me close to Canada, and I do a lot of stuff there. I know a lot about what Canada has. But honestly, the heart here, the people, you know, it reflects back in the day that, you know, this city welcomed Buffalo was a major terminus on the Underground Railroad. And it welcomed endless immigrants from Italy, Ireland, Poland, and elsewhere. But that's why you see these great enclaves of different cultures in Buffalo, why St. Paddy's Day, the First Ward, is such a big thing. The Polish, you know, the Easter celebrations.
Dingus Day.
Yes, Dingus Day. So, yeah, it's a great place, Western New York. And there's so much more than Niagara Falls here that you just have to be open to visiting. And we're going to be going these places. And it's kind of funny. I'm here to talk about the greatness of Canada. But you know what? We kind of know that. What we need to do as well is discover why it's a two-sided experience, that coming here and just seeing one side's incomplete.
And that's it. And, you know, I'm also here to, you know, I'm called the most Canadian American to ever exist. In fact, one time I was working down in the park and someone looked, they said, "Are you Canadian?" I said, "No." They're like, "Well, you can't be American." They're like, "You're too nice."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Americans are nice." I said, "Yeah, but New York." I'm like, "Okay, we're not New York." I'm like, "We're Western New York."
I must have missed your initiation vote.
That was apparently, I have long historic connections to Canada.
Oh, that's great.
Ever since
maybe that's why you and I enjoy working.
That's it. I'm a very Canadian American. He's a very American Canadian.
That's going, eh?
That's it.
Aye, that's great, I'll tell you. Oh, the Scots. No, I think it's been fun. So it's been a fun show. If you've got ideas, send them to us. As we get out there, the show is going to grow. We're thankful that that I Love New York Tourism has been promoting us as a resource for information on our area. And I got to check in with the kids who did an interview with us in our second show or third show, find out what they got on their project.
Yes.
Yeah, because
hopefully that
they got an A. Eh?
Yeah, actually, so shout out. So we just got a message from Sherry, and Sherry was mentioning, as a newcomer to Western New York, that she agrees that the people up here are just exceptionally nice. Super. And that is true. I mean, that's people that move here, that's the first thing they're shocked by, is how nice people are around here. And it's true. Suddenly, your neighbors are all very friendly. It's like having a weird, eclectic family, because they're all quirky still. Don't get me wrong. Western New York is just as quirky as it is nice. Like, it's like having a room full of crazy uncles and aunts. That's the best way I could just like we're gonna fix your car, we're gonna give you free pizza, and we're gonna jump through a folding table. Go Bills! But, you know,
there was a commercial for the Super Bowl. I think it was last year or the year before, and these two people were walking through ancient Rome or something.
Yep.
At one point they said, "And the barbarians are here," and they were jumping on tables. I mean, that's Buffalo barbarians, man. All right, well. My little Canadian factoid for today, very simple, is that when you see Quebec license plates, we get a lot of visitors from Quebec, both in Niagara Falls and come through the U.S., and they have the words "Je me souviens" on the back of their license plate. That means we remember. Souviens, think of souvenir, you know. But the idea is that the French-Canadian culture remembers its French roots. And in Canada, we're bilingual, and we recognize Quebec as a distinct society. So they do cling to the French language with great, absolute encouragement from the rest of us. But when you see Quebec license plates and you see "Je me souviens," it doesn't mean "I am soup," okay? I used to tell people that. They go, "What does that mean?" "I am soup."
I am soup. Oh, top 9 soups. We got to do top 9 soups.
Oh, yes.
Come on, that's a good one. Especially that might have to be our next one after wings because it's still cold out. We're waiting for spring. We got to warm up. Top 9 soups.
Hangover remedies.
That's after top 9 beers.
And wines. We'll have to do the wine. This summer we'll do the wine. You know what would be really cool? We can enlist our friends at Niagara Regional Tours, 5-star tours, and do a wine tour. I know we're doing one with Becca. It got preempted by the ice storm. But we'll get a group of people who want to be our judges, and we'll go to 9 wineries. And we'll come up with the top winery and then list them down.
Let's do it.
All right. Any last words, my friend?
Any last words?
Before we shoot. Ready, fire, aim.
What, are we War of 1812 all over again? This is how it ends, Peter?
That was a great, I love General Brock's monument. I tell everyone, I did it 3 times this week. People cracked up because Brock's like doing this. And it's like this British general saying, "Over there, stay there." That's General Brock. Stay there. America, please don't come back. But the U.S. stood up to the world superpower because they didn't fight Canada. They fought Great Britain.
Yes.
And Canadians who lived here made it clear we didn't want to become American. And we got this war that was really bloody and nobody talks about. Because then came the Civil War. So there you go.
One of these days, one upcoming episode, we're going to talk about the War of 1812. Probably on a time we talk about Old Fort Niagara.
Right.
And then we'll have to talk about the forts over in Canada too. We're going to balance.
And remember, Julian, are you in there?
He is. He's alive.
Yeah, remember, I wasn't in the War of 1812, okay? All right. So that's our engineer. I want to thank Julian. He's in there doing a lot of stuff for us right now. And he's having to work, since he started with us a month ago or whatever, he's had to work with a lot of changes to the equipment that happened without him knowing until he gets here the night of the show. So Julian is our producer. He's a student at Niagara Falls High School, does all the tech work. Thank you, Julian. I want to thank you for tuning in. And who do you want to thank?
I wanted to thank all of them for tuning in. I would like to thank you, Peter.
Well, I thank you. Your patience. I'll be there in 2 weeks. And you're out front in the car. Once I get you a key, you'll be fine. This is what it's like here, okay? I'm a Canadian who's just too busy. And he's an American who's just too busy. But he's too busy trying to be Canadian. So, to me, I'm just, it's 9 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? We're right here.
Oh, no.
Have a great night, folks. See you next week.
See you next week on Thursday. We'll be on Thursday next week. Don't worry, we're not changing yet.